Brawl News. So to kick things off in this episode today, we are diving into free news, guys. A brand new segment here on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the comings and goings with free rewards inside the Brawl Stars community, because we're penny pinchers here. On the Ray Brawl Stars community, we're penny pinchers. We like to get the most out of our progression. What Brawl Stars gives us, we take. And we take it happily. But as you can see, today is just some coins over here on the daily freebie over on the Supercell store. Hopefully you guys are checking in every single day. I don't mention this every single episode here on the channel. The last couple days was PowerPoints. I think Bling was in there. We had coins here today. And it's been a little bit since we've had like a crazy one, much like a Chaos Drop or like a Mega Box. So that might be coming around the corner anytime here. We don't really know the entirety of the freebie track that they have cooked up over here on the Supercell store. But get it? It adds up over time, right? 100 coins. And seeing that we made it into a brand new season here in Brawl Stars, and I failed to mention this in an episode, but thankfully we have a long time to get these gems for free, 25 days, the whole duration of the season that we're currently in. Make sure to get it. Free gems are pretty dang rare in Brawl Stars, so we never want to miss out on this bad boy. But now that we have our free alert, free news out of the way, we have a really interesting blog post to dive into that Frank ended up cooking up here this morning. In my opinion, the Brawl Stars dev team is one of the best in the game. It's super refreshing to see just kind of what's going down on the back end, whether it's from the podcast episodes that we get from time to time, or a new practice much like this, where Frank is being very honest about recent updates in Brawl Stars, the good and the bad. Records, bro. Records. So unfortunately we can't spend all day on this bad boy, but we can summarize a little bit so you guys can kind of get in the headspace of Frank as well as the other dev team members here within this last year. First up, talking about the collab with Toy Story and how it all went. If you guys were around during this time, it was kind of fun, but the majority of it was just being absolutely harassed by Buzz Lightyear throughout the entire experience. So Frank goes on in explaining the actual updates pull, and the popularity of the off-game promotion was very successful, with one of the animations from the Toy Story rollout got 40 million plus views, which is nuts. But on paper, it didn't go very well, and it's all because of the gameplay experience. That's what it comes down to, dude. Like, limited time brawler did not go very well. It was a fun idea and one that was interesting to try to execute, but it did not go good. As you can see here, on paper, this all sounds good, so how did it go? Well, unfortunately, I have to say, not great. There was some serious buzz around Buzz Lightyear, but his temporary release negatively impacted the game in different ways. Not only was Buzz like insanely broken, but also it kind of messed up matchmaking in very severe ways. Not only that, the way that they rolled out Meeple for free with the in-game events, the Pizza Planet Arcade event, didn't go phenomenally as well because of queued up credits that people would normally get with brawler progressions and new brawler releases would just go straight to fame, leaving kind of a bad taste in a lot of players' mouths. So in general, the Buzz Lightyear or the Toy Story collab update didn't go that great. It's a great example, I think the takeaway from Toy Story is a really awesome example of, if you nail gameplay features in any update, if you make the game fun, if you make the game feel good, it's going to be a good update. You can have all the eyes on Brawl Stars with a crazy collab, much like Toy Story, animations getting 40+ million views, but if the update and the gameplay mechanics are not fun, people will drop the game shortly after. Next up, getting into a kind of a vice versa here that was kind of surprising. I knew of the popularity of Katana Kingdom. It's been talked about a little bit here, but the difference between a collab, much like Toy Story, and Katana Kingdom that came out without a collab was planned to have a collab, but it fell through and still succeeded as one of the best updates in 2025 is another great eye-opener, I would say. Taking a look at it here, Update 61 released late in April was focused largely on the Battle of Katana Kingdom event, a storyline that started with the release of Kenji. The event featured a ton of proven concepts, new ideas, including hub for the event itself, wasabi power, sushi rolls, and a new PvE boss fight. Bunch of amazing skins, and in general, the story arc of this update was really fun. It was a good way for people to kind of keep track and just kind of dive in and feel like you're a part of this update, the story of it all. The event was a big success. New players and returning players peaked in May of 2025. In some countries like Japan, our daily active users even reached new lifetime records. The meta was more diverse than the previous ones, the theme itself was a hit, and overall it was just a really, really good update. Of course, during this update we had Kaze being released, kind of adding to that storyline, as well as the attraction of a brand new rarity in the game, also adding to the popularity of the update, as well as Brawl Arena being added to the game. That's actually been received pretty dang good. I don't think it's incredibly popular right now, not a lot of people play it, but the game mode itself was really well flushed out and a good kind of gameplay experience. Once again, showcasing that not the whole flashy collab stuff is always the most important thing. But coming up on the update that I wanted to talk about the most, then came update 62, where we had the trophy road being changed to a more lore-centric, and masteries were changed into records, bro. Oh my goodness, dude. This had to have been one of my least favorite updates in a very, very long time. I would equate this to, like, as bad in my eyes or my player experience since gears were implemented into the game. Since this update, I feel like the dev team has been like slowly stripping away long-term OG mechanics that were incredibly significant for the OG players to have like a goal or something fun to strive for in Brawl Stars past like the progression game. They took away rank 35s. Once you reached 1,000 trophies on a brawler, it really didn't have any like meaningful like impact on what you would want to do with that brawler next. Once you get 1,000, you're kind of done. And then finally, nail in the coffin, they got rid of masteries. One of the biggest end game, late game achievement things that you can do as a player in this game. Getting into it here, the trophy road changes included significant buffs for progression of new players, which had a very positive impact, especially on early retention numbers. So earlier players come into the game. Records are a whole different story. And the short version is that it didn't have the desired effect of engaging more people with the system. If you want to know more about it, take a look at the Time to Explain podcast where they go over it. Some other notes from this can be summed up really, really nicely over here on Chosen's Twitter page about records. As you can see here, he says, was records a mistake? In the latest blog post, Frank revealed that records had an extremely difficult development, some eyesight or insights that we didn't necessarily have beforehand. Changing stakeholders with conflicting design visions, tightened deadlines, reduced scope, and new team members thrown into chaos with the production of records. They admit records didn't just disappoint players, it was also let the entire Brawl Stars team down. Well said, bro. I feel like even if masteries weren't this like system in the game that had like incredible numbers or anything like that, it was still so important for the community in a lot of different ways that I feel like the Brawl Stars dev team didn't necessarily take into account before developing it. I feel like the Brawl Stars community in general is an incredibly like broad network of like important key features, right? You got the new gen players, the people who are just coming to the game, picking it up, and you want to retain them. You got the OG players that you don't always have time to develop like significant things towards them, even though they are still really important player base in the game. And then so many other types of players out there, much like, you know, artists, content creators. And I feel like especially within the year of 2025, the dev team really focused in on retaining new players, developing eye-catching collabs to get new people to the game and trying to get them into the web, the enjoyment of the game, to turn them into OG players. And I think records was just kind of a fumble on that whole narrative, trying to get these newer players to enjoy the game, enjoy that new experience, because not a whole lot of people were interacting with mastery because it was kind of an older feature and took a little bit of time to grind out and get some of the rewards in there. But one thing that it really messed up, and I don't know how big their numbers are on all of this, but obviously from my experience, is how important masteries were for engagement outside of the game. So whether that was like on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that, very important platforms to push like free advertisement towards Brawl Stars. And not only did we have like rank 35 types of content, fun, long-term evergreen videos that you can make, but masteries was also like probably one of the bigger video pieces or idea generators out there for YouTube content out of like any other feature in the game, and they took that away as well. So content creators towards the later half of 2025 was kind of left in this gray area where there really wasn't much content to make videos out of, you know? You couldn't really do much in the game. It was such a hard update to navigate, and I'm sure you guys can tell I was not a huge fan of freaking records. I still forget their names sometimes. Masteries, replacing Masteries, it's insane. But I definitely wanted to at least mention this as probably the biggest flop of 2025, the update. But getting into a few other things, we are skipping around a little bit now, but some other noteworthy implementations that I wanted to mention that might have some impact in future updates. The Stranger Things update, the really fun showdown game mode that was released here, might come back. As you can see, we are still thinking about how we can bring back this game mode in the future. This was such a great update. I saw so many people with this drought of content, this enjoyment in Brawl Stars itself being kind of a little bit on the lower end of things in the OG player base. This brought back so many people and gave like a reason to actually play the game because it was incredibly fun and really good for trophies before they took away the Showdown Plus modifier on it. Let's hope they bring it back, dude. Maybe as like a long-term game mode of some degree. It was so much fun, man. But then finally, to wrap things up, talking about Buffies, kind of getting into the most recent updates that we've had here in the game. Chosen does a really good job at summarizing this, so we're not like staring at a wall of text much like we've done. I feel like I could ramble for days. It's insane. I'm such a yapper and I'm sorry for that, but it's just who I am. But we have Chosen wrapping up Buffies and how it went. Buffies was the best update of 2025 performance wise, which is pretty reassuring. We were all really worried about Buffies when they were first released. The price point, how broken they could be. Could they sufficiently replace hypercharges? Putting aside how I personally feel about Buffies, I feel like in general, a new implementation, I care more about how the community enjoys it, right? Because that impacts how I operate here on YouTube way more than just how I feel about it, right? But as you can see here in the latest blog post, the Buffies update drove strong engagement growth from day one after the stabilization update, Subway Surfers, Stranger Things before it. The momentum carried into 2026 with January and February continuing the positive trends and helping set up the series update. I kind of enjoy Buffies. They've been pretty dang fun. The second rollout, this newer batch of Buffies, I've been enjoying more than the first rollouts. Maybe it's because I don't know, the brawlers that got them, but I guess they are something kind of fun to look forward to. They are a huge resource sink and I'm starting to get low on resources, but it's still really good time. And as they said here, I feel like the last like 4 or 5 updates, the Brawl Stars dev team have been implementing like really slow good changes, and the game's popularity is starting to go like this in a very significant way, which is beautiful to see. But one thing I want to say, a good learning experience from these last like 4 or 5 really good updates contributing to like the good trend that we're on here is there was only one collab, okay? One collab, and that was with Stranger Things. Yes, Stranger Things is a very popular IP, but I don't think it's on the same like echelons of SpongeBob and Toy Story and whatnot. But the reason it did so well, and now we're going into this really good update cycle the past like 4, is because Stranger Things had a really good gameplay experience. If you nail the gameplay mechanics in any update and the actual game is fun, that's how an update is going to succeed, and we're going to see this really awesome trend. And the last since Stranger Things, we haven't had a collab, which I think is a really good thing. The Brawl Stars dev team is more focused on like more important quality of life gameplay changes, which is beautiful to see. But yeah, man, I had a feeling that this blog post would take a little bit here in this episode today, but I wanted to dedicate a good chunk of this video to that, if not the entirety of the episode, because it's pretty rare to get stuff like this, and I feel like it's really important, especially for content creators to highlight this type of practice. I think it's really good that the dev team does stuff like this. Like I said, whether it is like the podcast or blog posts like this, it's really nice to see how things are doing on the back end and how Brawl Stars is being developed. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys here in this episode today. It looks like we're on a really good track record here to start off 2026, which is beautiful. Also, quick update, more pushing content right around the corner. I feel like we've been just getting something significant every single day in the form of news. But I'm itching for a Prestige 3 on a brawler, and I think I'm gonna go for it. But yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all so much, and we'll be seeing you in the next one. Love ya. Take care.